Welcome everybody. This is Garrick Mitchell with Palmaris Racing, and here's video from today's Longmont Criterium. This is the umpteenth, 30-something edition of this crit in Longmont, Colorado. Get right to it. The whistle sounds. We have some folks having a little trouble clipping in. Not like I staged on the front row, but that's one of the fun parts of crit racing. But so today is the State Masters Crit Championship, and so this is the Masters 40 plus Category 3 field. We had 30 something, maybe 35 or 40 people. I'm not sure. I haven't seen the results online yet, but this is a 0.7 mile, 6 corner L, kind of backwards L-shaped circuit in a residential area of Longmont. Beautiful course. I love this course. I had forgotten how much I like it. Of course, it helps that I won here in 2015 in the 40 plus fours. That was just before I upgraded to threes. But some mixed pavement. It's nice and smooth right here, but a good fast course. Not a lot of wind today. It's certainly warm. It's low 80s probably at this point, but we are fast getting underway. So we're heading south on what I call the backstretch here. One difference. So I actually raced twice today. This was the first time I raced 40 plus threes. After this, after about an hour and a half break, I raced in the 50 plus category 1, 2, 3s. I turned 50 later this year, so your racing age is whatever age you are at the end of the year, and so I'm 50 plus now. And it's interesting on that back straightaway, on that long stretch. We just weren't really drilling it in the threes, and it seemed like the 50 plus were a lot better at just really pushing the pace there. But so now we're heading north. It's a little bit downhill here. In fact, if you weren't at the front, we had to get on the brakes a little bit. But this is these sweeping 90-degree corners. I love them. This is really a proper crit course. Beautiful venue. The trees provide good shade. I love this place. So on account of not having the greatest start, getting caught behind some guys who were having trouble clipping in, I was towards the back. But here was an opportunity to move up on the back stretch, and you'll see on the left side this Groove Subaru rider moving up, so I hop on his wheel. The way he moves up, it looks like this might turn into a bit of a breakaway attempt. Now, I'll point out that Palmaris had a pretty sizable chunk of the field. There's a modern market rider kind of almost dive bombing the inside there, but we had about 11 guys in the field. So the thought was, each of us has a role. We got a couple guys on good form. Oh, here's one of the other joys of crit racing: pedestrian. That was fun. Thankfully, that was the only time we saw that today. But we established roles for each of us, and my aspiration today was basically to chase things down, try to keep things together for our sprinters. If I had an opportunity to get in a breakaway, then great. But here, we just kind of spent some time on the front to see if we could get a gap, and we did not. Not running a rear camera today, so I'm gonna have to go on memory for what was happening behind. But at this point, I'm at the front, so I'm just going to drive the pace a little bit. So as I mentioned, this is a fast course. It's fairly flat, not perfectly flat, but I'm motoring along at 27 here. Um, it's we knew it was going to be a fast race. So a breakaways are always a little tenuous in the 40 plus threes. There's a lot of strong riders, but folks are usually content to bring things back together. So the next break attempt goes. You saw my teammate Derek Shipley going after that. So, thankfully we can kind of take turns covering things. So we got a couple riders kind of rolling off the front here. I was caught napping just a little bit, but it's nice and strung out right now. We're going pretty fast as things go. And here's where things bog down a little bit, so I take it upon myself to do a little chasing. So I move up the side and not so abruptly that folks couldn't potentially go with me. So I'm just in chase mode right now, just trying to manage the gap that these two riders are getting. So those riders are about 6 seconds up the road. I'm not going to chase them down all by myself, especially dragging the field up, but this is taking its toll. I'm pretty much just motoring along until someone sees fit to pass me, and that should happen pretty soon here, but I've been chasing for a lap now. And actually, I took that last corner a little bit wide. I had a preferred line through that corner that avoided the worst of the bumps through it. There we go. So now I get swamped, and I'm sufficiently gassed. Well, my heart rate's not maxed out, but I'm going to drift right on back to the towards the back of the group. But looks like well, it's certainly not strung out. I'm not going to claim I was hurting anyone in the field, but I was working on keeping the pace high. So, yep, now we're back strung out nicely, so the chase is definitely on. Now again, I've already said I love this course. Nice wide roads. They did have the fencing on the outside there, so they could keep traffic going through on that street. But you could really pretty much pedal through all the corners. I did not. I'm pretty conservative with pedaling through corners. I don't want to scrape. I run speed play pedals, and I ride a Specialized LA Sprint, which is a crit bike. It ought to have a slightly higher bottom bracket, but I'm still a bit of a wuss about that. So you really do have to work to keep your momentum going into the corner. So if I coast a little bit through it, I'm not losing too much. There's Derek Shipley right in front of me. Derek gets honorable mention. He actually drove and flew back from a family vacation in Michigan yesterday, and he had been out of town for a while, so he's well rested, which is a euphemism for he hadn't been riding, but he hung tough. And so at this point, we can see the lead moto up there, and so it's a Gruppo Compatto. It's, well, no, I'm sorry. We still have the two riders, but they're barely 1 or 2 seconds off the front. Now, in a crit, since you're going to do, I'm not sure how many laps we did. We did 20 miles. It's 0.7 miles per circuit, so we did what, 20, between 25 and 30 laps, we'll say, just to make up a number. And you really do need to kind of get to know where the road features are. Like right here, the dip right at the apex of the corner. So you kind of brace yourself and drop down into that dip. But if you go further outside, there's a bit of a bump, and you kind of have to absorb that, or else you go airborne. On the final corner here, there's a manhole cover right at the apex, and the smooth line that I found is just inside that manhole cover. You'll see me taking that line most of the time, like right there. It's deceptive. My GoPro has the hyper smooth image stabilization, which is almost too good. I may try a video with it turned off one of these times, but there are definitely some bumps out there, and you need to kind of figure out where those are. So lap after lap, you can avoid them or pick your way around them. But all in all, the roads are in decent shape on this course, and certainly not much to complain about. So now it's all back together, and we get a bit of a respite. But no, there's another move, another rider going off the front. So I've been hanging out at the back, and now I need to be aware because gaps start opening in front. Derek was having a tough time. He pulled off, and a bit of a gap opened in front of him. So that's always the danger of being near the back. You're at the mercy of everybody in front of you. Now, thankfully, on the downhill portion of the course here, you really could kind of coast up to the rear of the riders in front of you, because really the front wasn't drilling it that hard, so it was a bit easier to tail gun through here, but still you always got to be mindful. So here I moved up the inside to try to get back. There are strata within a crit. If you're within the first X number of wheels, that's what's driving the race. behind that, you're kind of in the belly of the pack. But once you get back to a certain spot, you got guys who are kind of hanging on, and there could be a gap open, and not a lot of strength behind to close that gap. So you got to watch for that. But anyway, I've been hanging out at the back, trying to find my legs after chasing for a lap. But now I decide I need to move back forward. And when I see other riders move forward, I kind of hop on them, try to get a free ride. I thought that Bennett in front of me was going to. There goes David Mead, my teammate, moving up the inside. But you got to be careful. You need to, if you're moving up alongside folks, you got to make sure that you're set up for the next corner and that you're not going to surprise people when you get to that corner. Sounded like that was the preem bell. So they rang the bell for a preem or a lap prize. The first rider again, across the line at the end of this lap wins a preem. And actually, my teammate, David Mead, won both of them in this race. So kudos to Dave. So I'm talking to, on the left there is Peter Gee, one of my teammates. He's had great form recently in sprints. So he's one of our designated sprinters, and he's been hanging out at the back. But, again, he's subject to the same hazards I was just talking about. You don't want a gap to form in front of you. But, really what his goal was is to just sit in, do as little work as possible. And I was just telling him, man, that chase took a lot out of me. But here I'm moving back up. I'm trying to get back into a position where I can respond to moves and either creating them or following them. There's Damon Brandt moving away from me on the left there, my teammate. So again, we had a lot of guys in here, and we had fun. This was it's fun to kind of figure things out. We're certainly not pros. We're just Cat 3s, but trying to kind of exert some force over the race, kind of dictating what goes on. It's tough when everyone wants to win, and especially with the state championships today. But this is fun. We're a bunch of old guys pretending we're young. So once again, we're on the backstretch, and I see a chance to move up. And if you can see a bit of a lull in front of you, that's kind of a quick and dirty way to move up, to improve your position in the field. That assumes that the group slows down, which it doesn't always. But I feel good about that. I'm seventh wheel right now. Ooh, I did hit the pothole in the apex of that corner though. Whoop. And you see those guys out of the saddle? They are gunning for it. I chase. I decide I'm going to let this Groove Subaru rider hop in, just sit on his wheel. So basically at that point, I'm done trying to close the gap. But, this was my job today, was go with moves if I needed to chase something down, if it was a dangerous breakaway. So that's what I'm doing. I'm burning plenty of matches, but I'm not the designated sprinter. So I don't think we got a gap here, but it is all strung out behind us. One thing I'll note, you notice how the map of the course at bottom left, it's a little squiggly going through here, and I would look down at my Wahoo computer, and through there I'd see like I'm going, it says I'm going 18 miles an hour, and it was speeds that just didn't make sense. And I have a feeling that with all the tall trees, it may have been interfering with the GPS signal. So it seems like the speed data's kind of worked out in the final analysis here, but the track, the actual path it has me taking, is a bit squiggly through there, which is kind of interesting. GPS isn't infallible, but it's pretty damn good. So as you can see, the order we're riding in hasn't changed. Now we get swamped by the field, but really all of us were just sitting on that move. But now we've had a breakaway. I didn't see who that was, but we'll see what happens with him. So at this point, one of two things can happen. Either, well, there's several things that can happen, but the main thing's going to be when a rider attacks, either folks jump and follow him right away, or he establishes a gap and then other riders bridge up to him. And that's kind of the mystery of the 40 plus 3s to me is it seems like the typical course of action is simply the front of the field chases and then the field catches back up. So I don't know, it's kind of weird. I haven't seen breaks that stick. Now there are some guys who are certainly strong enough to make that happen, but apparently none of them were here today. But so now I'll move up. Let's chase. So again, I have no visions of either bridging up to that rider or chasing him down all by myself. I'm just trying to keep his gap under control. Pacing, you just have to kind of feel what wattage you can maintain. Now I suspect my wattage is reading low. I can't prove that at the moment, but I don't know. I've been having trouble with this particular power meter mounted on carbon cranks. We'll see. I'll report out what I find if I do some experiments on my smart trainer. But I did my little poll. There wasn't continued with gusto here, which is a little disappointing, but it is what it is. As you can see, this time I'm not dropping all the way back to the back. I'm able to hop in line towards the front. So at this point, the lone rider off the front pretty much ran out of steam, so the chase wasn't very hard because it was clear that he was coming back. Obviously I'm drifting back a bit more, but still manageable. And ahead of me, shout out to my teammate Scott Carlson. All 6'10" of him. I think you're 6'10", Scott. Sorry if I got that wrong, but best draft around. But he's riding a custom Zen frame. I think it's a titanium frame. I'm looking to see, but yeah, there's no component on that bike that you can get in a size, or no sized component, I should say, that you'd get off the shelf. I don't think. So, again, I've got my data layout that I used at Mod Market. I've got the strip of heart rate data along the bottom, so it's a bit of a lull for me. I'm just kind of sitting in, not quite tail gunning necessarily, but just kind of surfing the wheels. And then, of course, I make a liar of myself and I move up. But I'm following that Groove Subaru rider. So, crits are fast. A, because they're short. This race is 45 minutes. But B, because you really do conserve your momentum through corners. Conserve is the wrong word, but basically there's always fresh legs at the front. Keep the speed up, and there's a premium on riding efficiently and coasting through corners when you can, getting those little micro rests. So case in point, I am really just coasting up the inside here, and I've got to make sure I fall back in line for the corner, but I was able to move up while the field was kind of getting stacked up there. So that was like some free speed and free gaining of positions through there. In the 1-2-3s, I would not have quite as easy of a time doing that, for sure. So here, I think my spider sense was tingling a bit. I just thought that there was a bit of a lull, and I thought that someone was going to jump. I wasn't really in a mood to attack myself at that point, but I moved up and then realized, no, I don't want to go off the front. And then the preem bell rings. So it's like, well, crap. So I know it's going to pick up because of folks going for the preem, but yeah, in the end, I mean, we say it over and over. If you're near the front, kind of in that first stratum, I guess. But anyway, number 188, my teammate David Mead, he'll take this preem as well. He took the first one, so kudos to Dave. But if you can stay close enough to the front that you're not in the wind, but you're still out of the washing machine churning sort of action, that's kind of the sweet spot, says the guy who tail guns all the time. But that's a different story. So there's Damon, number 172 on the left. So one thing about it in a crit, every corner you got to pick a line, and here I've come up inside some riders, and maybe they didn't know I was there. I tend to say a little hup up, or clear my throat or something to let them know I'm there. But my practice is if I am not already totally pinned to the inside of the course, as I go through the corner, I'm going to leave that little gap on the inside just in case there's somebody there. Now, is that pro racecraft? Maybe not, but I'd rather let someone potentially have room. And well, I saw that spike in my heart rate, and there it goes. Was that Bennett Hug? I think that's Bennett with Modern Market, and he's obviously going like a scalded dog. And I just happen to be in a good spot, so I go after him, but I'm not able to get a gap over the field. So basically, I'm pulling the field up to him. So sorry about that, Bennett, but they're just not letting me go. Not my fault. So at this point, I'm more than happy to have folks come past me, and then it's about here that I realized I've pinned myself against the curb, and let me out. There's that little bump out in the curb. Thankfully, I looked ahead and saw it, rather than running headlong into that hay bale. But again, I'm trying not to drift back too far. This is one of those few times I went wide through that final corner. If you went wide, then there was a little water valve box that tended to give you a sharp bump. But after chasing Bennett down and then spending some time at the front, I'm a little tired, so I'm going to drift back a bit. Now, remember, I was just talking about kind of my practice, okay, you're cornering in a crit. You always want to leave a little gap in case you're not sure if there's somebody there. So watch this next right corner. There'll be a rider coming in on my left. Now watch this.
Damn it! Don't fucking cut me off! You did not establish yourself.
Yeah, he kind of chopped me. He changed his line in the middle of the corner. And rather than leaving that one lane on the inside, he kind of dove towards the apex, and I had to get on the brakes to make sure I didn't overlap wheels with him there. I was a little upset. I came up alongside him in just a minute here and talked to him. And I mean, it was good. It's like, hey, I disagree with what you did. But I mean, I'm sure that I've messed that up a time or two. But just kind of pick your lane and follow that lane through the corner, and don't change that lane unless absolutely necessary. I did see that Damon was just outside of him, ahead of him, but I don't think Damon really changed his line. So he could have still left that little bit of room. Maybe come over a little bit if he needed to get room relative to Damon, but yeah, I was not happy with that, but I got over it quickly.
Steve,
So that last little exchange, I was talking to Steve Rademacher just ahead of me on the Teal Cervelo, saying I'm feeling like I'm pretty much done. I'd done some chasing duties, and I was kind of feeling toasted. But what was in the back of my mind at this point is another role I had for today was, if it is all together at the end, is to help keep the pace up. And so I'm tail gunning a bit here. I'm dangling a bit, but trying to recover a little, get my heart rate back down, and as you can see on my heart rate graph, I will have a couple of good efforts coming up. So just ahead of me there, Daryl Shockley, one of my good friends from the PHP ride. Let's see, I think that was 5 laps to go. I missed the lap card, but they're definitely counting down laps. But anyway, there's Daryl, and I don't know. I feel kind of a special kinship with him. We both we started racing, when we were a lot younger. Took a little time off. Took a few years off, then got back into it, kind of having a renaissance. And it's funny because we couldn't be more different as riders. I mean, Daryl is a talented sprinter, and I am anything but. And but hey, I idolized Davis Finney as well when I was getting into racing, and I'm totally not anything like Davis, but anyway, Daryl's a good guy. I enjoy riding with him. It's just he's one of those guys in the peloton that you can have a deep philosophical talk with, a good intellectual talk, and then throw down on the course together. That's fun. So we're approaching, I think, 4 laps to go, and it slowed down a bit. You can see how the peloton's bunched a little bit. So I'm just going to go up and motor. I'm not trying to get away. I'm just trying to drive it. And so I'm looking at my power, thinking, okay, I'm viewing this as kind of a time trial effort. Of course, a time trial, you don't have a bunch of 90-degree corners that you coast through. But at this point, I just want to keep the pace up. So let's see what this lap card says on the left side here. 4. Okay, so that is 4 laps to go. So that may be a bit early to do it, as we missed the photographer. I'm not sure. Didn't see who that was, but anyway, we'll give the photographers a pass because, hey, they take cool pictures of us, right? So now I remember, at this point I look back, and Daryl's right behind me, and it's just the two of us off the front. we had a gap of several seconds, and well, obviously that was short-lived, but you can hear me saying, well, how the hell did that happen? But the full send rider there obviously goes rocketing up the road. And at this point I just hope, well, I hope I've got teammates who are covering that move, because I got nothing. So obviously my motoring at the front wasn't that effective because it didn't prevent the attacks. But let's see, so that was 3 laps to go. So I'm just trying not to get dropped at this point. There's Kirk Groves, sorry, I need to enunciate, in the orange helmet in front of me, my teammate who's one of our sprinters. And you see Peter there, and there's Damon on the Cervelo on the left. Both of those guys can handle themselves in a sprint. There's the guy that hooked me earlier on the left. Sorry, I don't know your name. I'm just giving you grief. It was fine. I'm just a believer in giving immediate feedback. And so now it kind of slows down again. I had to get all over the brakes there. And since I haven't drifted back that far, and at this point Peter's next to me, I say, do you want to come, do you want to go up? Do you want to go up? So I know I want to move up, so that gives him a free tow up to the front. I don't know how long he was with me, but at this point I go back into motoring mode, just trying to keep the pace high. Thread the needle through the final corner again, and this time we'll be seeing 2 laps to go. So I figure, okay, I might have might have another lap in me, and then I'm just going to get the hell out of the way. So once I round this corner, I am pretty much done. I just want to get the hell out of the way. Saying, please, somebody come past me. Don't want to slow down too much, but I'm really kind of toasted here. Once I get past that hay bale, I move way over to the left. It's like, go dudes. Oh, there we go, okay. So my work here is done. I am just done. And now I hope that my teammates were in good position behind me and will be able to duke out the sprint. So it'll be the bell this time, 1 lap to go. And yeah, I'm going to finish off the back. A common theme for me this year. But in the end, Pete Benkowski, one of my other teammates I haven't called out during the race, he ended up 3rd. I'm not sure of our other placings up there. Brent Murphy, the photographer on the right side of the road back there, gives me a great big shrug, like, dude, what are you doing? And I want to say, I'm working here. But Brent, thanks for coming out and taking photos today. I look forward to your shots. But yeah, I think we need to work on having our sprinters find their lead-out guys. Kind of getting together, making an actual sprint train. Instead, it's kind of every man for himself. And I think, for instance, Peter Guy got hung up behind someone who, had a mechanical hiccup or something. And that happens, and you lose your momentum, and that's it. But it was a good race. We had fun. We tried to make things happen. And now what's interesting is after this, I figured, well, I could race again, which is a really stupid idea. I have done the double before and promised I'd never do it again, but no, I wanted to do a 50-plus race. I've never done just the 50-plus where it wasn't combined with this field. Now that I'm eligible to race 50-plus, and I didn't run the GoPro in it because I didn't bring a spare battery, so I didn't have enough battery life anyway. But the 50-plus race was really fun. It was almost exactly the same speed, maybe a couple tenths of a mile an hour faster on average, but those guys are so smooth. they go fast, they drill it, they keep it strung out, but they're just a real pleasure to race with. And you've got, ex-pros like Norm Alvis, who's raced in the Tour de France. You've got, current and former national champions. It's just a really good group, but they're smooth. And I ended up finishing in the field in that race, so that was a lot of fun. So that's all for now. Goodbye from Longmont. This upcoming Saturday is going to be the Bannock Street Criterium. So we will see you then.